So we discussed about the row context and filter context. The row context iterates the table one row at a time, right? So each and every row it iterates, but it does not filter. You need to remember this point. Row context does not do the filtering. What about the filter context? Filter context, it can filter, as the name suggests, it can filter the table. And when you use a measure, right, in a measure, you can use both the filter context as well as the row context. Okay. And in the measure, see, in the case of calculated column, the row context is used. It is pretty straightforward. When you create a new column, only the row context works. In the sense, row by row, it performs the computation. But is it possible for me to perform the row context, instead of using the calculated column, can I do the same in measure? Yes, that is possible. Using the x function, the functions that ends with the x, sum x. We have seen sum x. We discussed about the difference between sum and sum x. Using sum x function in a measure, we can use the sum x function in a measure to iterate or to perform the row context, right? To iterate the table row by row. It is possible using sum x function. You can call sum x function as part of the measure. Okay, now what we will do is we will just quickly take a look at the one interesting thing. Which one? Is it possible to filter the row context with filter context? Is it possible to do that? I just go here and I thought of discussing it in the last session. Somehow I missed it. Let me go here and see. Okay, statements are fine. I just go here, and this is my fact sales. Here, just for demonstration purpose, I just this is a different file, than the one that I used it. Let me just go back to the previous one and see if I show the same thing. It will be helpful. Okay, somehow I forgot the file name. That file I sent to you all, but anyhow, not a problem. It will not take much time. Okay, so now we can see that I'm going to, this price is not there here. Okay, I just close this one. Here we have the list price. Okay, here we have list price and quantity is there. Okay. Something is going on. Even to close, it takes a lot of time. Here, okay, I just go to the home ribbon. Not necessarily I have to go there. Okay, I just click on the new column. Just remember that currently I'm in the data view. Okay, in the data view, I selected fact sales. In this, I just do the same thing. I just say sales amount by line, by line, by line item. Okay, is equivalent to the list price into the quantity. I just executed it. It will take some time. Okay, while forcing syntax. Sales amount by line item. Okay, the sales is problem here. No, the quantity. I'm using quantity here. Yes, quantity is there, and offset quantity. List price. Okay. If you encounter any as such error, just click on the column name. Okay, whatever the column that you use it, you just click on it and should check the data type. The data type is the correct one or not. Okay, I will use the list price. Oh, the brackets. Okay, okay. Yeah, here I could see that multiple brackets. Oh, the bracket name, right? Okay. If you get error, you just check the bracket. Okay, it should be square bracket. Mistakenly, it was. I just put this curly brace here. Not curly brace, parenthesis. This is called parenthesis. Okay, closed parenthesis. See what the mistake I made. This is the one. Right? The quantity is supposed to be good. That you came for my rescue. Good. Sales amount by line item. We got this one. The next step is we want to use another calculated column. Click on the new column. And here what I do is I just create some measure calc. Here I'm going to use the sumx function. Sumx function also does the row by row calculation, but any function that ends with x, these are all called x functions. Here the sum function ends with x, and it is called x functions. It is also called as an iterator functions because it can perform row by row iteration. And for all the x functions, most of the x functions, the first argument should be a table name. In this case, my table name is fact sales, and the second argument is my expression. Here, the expression is list price into quantity. Here, same as this column. In this column, I have used list price into quantity, but the difference is here I'm using sumx function because we all know sumx function does the row context. Just give me sound. Let's see what happens if I execute this. And I just pressed enter. I just type the formula here and I pressed enter. It is getting executed now. In case of any syntax error, it will throw an error. Okay. Look here, measure, calculate calls. Here also I'm doing price into quantity. But what happens is the sumx function. The first argument is fact sales. In this case, what happens is it goes row by row, each and every row, and then it picks up the list price and it takes the product with your quantity column. And then, it goes to the entire table for each and every row. It goes to the entire table. Okay, it iterates to your entire. Supposing if you have 10,000 rows, 10,000 for each and every row, right, of your 10,000 rows, it goes row by row, and then it does the computation, and then it does the total sum on this one. For each and every row, this is a overkill, right? So here, this is my calculated column. We know very well the calculated column does only the row context. You cannot do filter context. And now what I do is I just create another column. This is for you all to demonstrate how it works. Okay, the different concepts, different approaches, how it works. I'm creating more than one columns, calculator column, but real-time scenario don't create this many number of columns unless it is really required. I just go towards the right, and here I'm going to create new column. Sorry, I just clicked on it. Here I just copy paste the same thing, but if I press enter, the same result I can see here. But what I do is instead I'm going to use the calculate function here. Calculate is a very powerful function. Though it is simple, it's a very powerful function. Look here. Okay, okay. I mentioned the same column name. Since this column name already exists, it was giving an error. Press enter. It is doing a fantastic job. We just compare this column and this column value. Forget about this column. The results are same here. But by wrapping this calculate function, what happens here? It converts the row context into filter context. This is called context transition. It is doing the filter, okay? So even though you compute each and every row for the entire table, and if you do the sum, what it does is, it applies the filter here. Okay, what it does is, for each and every row, what is the total? You just display that. That is enough. Okay, that is what the calculate is doing it. This simply override the row context behavior. Okay, so this is what called as context transition. Just let me make it here so that when you watch the video, you should be able to remember it. So in this case, we switched from row context to filter context using calculate function. Now you understood how powerful the calculate function. Without calculate, can you do that? You cannot do that. This is the one you need to remember it. Anyhow, we will discuss about the calculate function in detail little later. What is next? Next one is the column selection filter section. This is the one initial filter context. We already discussed it. And okay. So this is the one we discussed already, the filter context. If I ask you what is the filter context for the Mumbai, here this is the sales value. So in this case, what happens is, it get the view of, see, first what happens is, in this case, this is a matrix. It add location name to the filter context. In this case, right, Mumbai, it add the location name. Mumbai, it add to the filter context, and for that Mumbai, what is the sales? Similarly, for each and every city, what is the total sales? We can see it here, right? So this is the classic example for the filter context. Okay, the filter context is nothing but the set of values allowed in each column, okay, based on the filter constraints. That is what the filter context. In simple term, filter context, you just think this is filtering. It does the filtering for each and everything. They just use the fancy term context, filter context, filter context. Okay, next one is, in simple term, the filter context filters the data. It does not iterate. Okay, it does not iterate. And the row context iterates the table, but it does not filter. The difference between filter and row context. Row context iterates the table, but it does not filter. But using calculate function, we have seen we can transition the context, the row row context to filter context. It was possible. But filter context really does not iterate. Okay, but in a measure, we can use both the filter context and row context. Okay, and also we can do the context transition. That's what we have seen it. So what is evaluation context? How many of you remember it? What is evaluation context? We discussed in the last session. That is very important point. What is evaluation context? Evaluation context is nothing but the environment in which the calculation is done. So in this case, The environment is product, for example, yeah, product name, shaving cream in month one or the quarter one. In quarter one, shaving cream, right? This is the context here. Okay, the filter context. The filter context is quarter and the product name. For in this quarter, what is the sales for this product name? This is what your yeah, the evaluation context. Okay, evaluation context is based on the environment in which it evaluates your measure or calculation. Okay, next one is we will see how we can do. Okay, here I'm going to create a table here. I just go to the category table. Okay, it is available. The category name, location by category. We can see a lot of category here. Okay, because we have different locations are available. Bangalore, we sold products under different category, and what I do is I just go and pick up the unit sold in this fact table. Okay, and each and every city, how much we sold. Here it is doing the sum here. Okay, and the next one is what I am going to do is I'm going to create a measure, new measure, click on the new measure. The quantity, not the quantity. I'm going to say the discount percent. I'm going to use sum x as part of my measure and filter. Filter is also an iterator function. I told you the functions that ends with the x, like sum x and average x, count x. These functions are iterating function. For that iterating function, the first argument is table. Like the x functions, the filter is also an iterating function. Though it doesn't end with the x, the function name doesn't end with the x. Okay, and just the filter here. But the filter also does the row by row row context. Okay, here what I do is I just check fact sales, the sales amount. Here what I do is greater than or equal to 500 or above sales. Those purchase it. We are going to give something like yeah, sales amount. Okay, here line item. And greater than 4, yeah, here the sales amount by line into 0.15. 15% we are going to give, but here in this case it is showing some error here. Okay, I just press enter. Okay, this one, the filter, and the filter is a function, isn't it? See, this is the open parenthesis. I should have mentioned the closing parenthesis here. So now we don't see any underline here. I just selected, press enter, it is working fine. It's going to work fine. We want to find out the discount percent. We want to give discount to our customers, especially those customers, they buy more than 500 or above $500, those purchase it. We give them 15% discount. I just close this. And then what I do is, in this case, discount percent, right? This is the one I created. So in this case, I have used the row context with filter context. What is the row context? Row, the sumx function does the row context, isn't it? It performs row by row calculation. That's the row by row calculation. And then here we have used the filtering condition, right? The filter, for using the filtering function, we have filtered the fax sales data or the entire record based on this condition, right? Now we have this filter function will return a table. Okay, so the filter function itself returns a table. Hence, the first argument of sumx becomes a table. Okay, this one returns a table. Hence, it satisfies the or it meets with the syntax requirement, right? The first argument of your X function is supposed to be table, but here we did not use a table. Instead, we have used a filter function. Filter function returns a table. So what will happen is, this table, it will create a temporary table behind the scene for this condition. Okay, and the next one is, for those filtered records matching to this condition, this logic will be applied. This business rule will be applied. Okay, now what I do is I just click close here. Here, to compare that, we need a sales amount. Sales by, 1 second, instead of wasting time, just type sales by, not location, sales amount by line. This is the calculated column. 500 and above. This is above 500. Hence, the discount has been given for this product. In Bangalore dairy product, since it's above 500, discount is given. And for this thing, right, this customer purchased worth $100 only. Hence, he is not eligible for discount. So the point, the takeaway here is, in this measure, so not this one. Okay, if you select this one, discount percent. Here we have used the row context with the filter context, right? The sumx basically does the row by row operation, but using the filter, we filter the data. Okay, and hence we are able to perform both the row context with the filter context. That is also possible. That is the reason why I created this measure and I demonstrated with this one. And I will share the couple of KPIs, sometime later tonight. You can just go through it with formula, everything. You start practice that one, okay? And you create, I will, with the data set, whatever I have given it to you, with that, I think you should be able to create those KPIs, okay? And see how you can create it. Okay, the next one is filter functions.